Yep.
Nice when you see your hand.
Got to. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Real Life Adventures. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. Behind me is a buddy of mine's 2018 Wrangler. We have looked everywhere for some videos, for instructions, for anything on how to install these inner fenders from, who are they again? KavFab?
CavFab.
KavFab. We've looked everywhere. We can't find anything on them. So we just did the passenger side over there so that we can go through, see what all we're doing, stuff like that. We're about to do the driver side. I just wanted to put together a quick little video, show you a few little things. One, how to take the fenders off of a 2018 Wrangler. We're going to take off the front fender and the rear fender. They are a little bit different as far as how they come off. Then we're going to show how to install KavFab inner fenders. And then what are your outer fenders? What are those?
KVG.
KVG?
Yeah.
And then we're going to show how to install some KBD fenders for the outside of them. So it's going to be more or less 3 different little videos, or maybe 2. I don't even know how I'm going to put this together yet. Well, regardless, there's nothing out there for the KavFab, so we're definitely doing something for the inner fenders. So first off, for the front fender here, there are 3 10mm bolts. One's here, one's right there, and then one's up in here. So you take out those 3 10mm, and then you just grab the whole fender and you take it right off. Now it's going to make some popping. It's going to sound like you're breaking a lot of stuff, and you are breaking some things. You're breaking some plastic clips that are in there, but you're not hurting any of the body itself. You're not hurting the fender, and it comes right off. We'll have this thing off in a matter of just a couple minutes. All right, first step we're going to do is take out the 3 10mm bolts. All right, now this part right here is the scary part where we're just going to rip this fender off. We already have the 3 bolts out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach inside and pull some of that inner fender down, and then I'm just going to rip this whole thing off. Now once you start getting it off, right about this location here, there is a wire connection right in this area right here for your actual blinker. So before you just get to tearing the whole thing off, just be careful of that. Things out in here. Alright, now we're just going to grab a hold right back here. Right here's the connection, like I said. So slide this back. It is. Hold on. So we were wrong. It's a 10 up front. Okay, so the driver's side fender is completely different than the passenger side fender. We have another 10mm down here we got to take out real quick. Okay, so right up in here is another 10mm right back in this section right here. Look at that. There you go. Okay. So yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is a total of 4 10mm. Alright, before we get to installing anything, we're going to show you the rear fender removal. And that one is a little bit different than the front one. You just reach right down here. You're going to hold this section here. and the rear fender's been removed. And that's it. All right, back to the front fender. This section right down here, on this one, once again, this is 2018. This section right here, you have to remove this section as well to get everything to install in here. Right now, he's just removing all the extra little plastic clip pieces, taking those out, getting this wiped down, and then we're going to start the install over here.
Get your finger behind it. That's how I did it.
We have moral support over here on the side.
Moral
Thank you. The pieces right here for the passengers. Hold on, what's that one? Driver side front. These are the pieces for the driver side front. The way all of this goes together. This piece will set up in here like this. Then this piece. Right, so this piece will go here like this. This piece right here comes in here like this. All of this is going to go up and underneath there. Whenever we're putting it all together, we found that this piece here, this piece is going to mount up and actually to the side of the body itself. This right here will go into the front cab mount, and we'll show you where that piece goes. Leave it all loose. Whenever you put all this stuff together, so this, whenever it bolts in there like this, you'll leave these two loose up top. They came with long bolts, nuts, and a bunch of other things. Some of it's not even going to be used. It doesn't fit what else here. These top ones, it's easier if you use a couple long bolts up here to go through what you're going through and everything like that, and it just makes it all easier to go together. So that's how, these are all the pieces for that. This piece right here is for the rear. We're going to get to that one in a minute. So once this front is all together, and something we did as well, just took out the inserts. They all come in pieces. Just spray painted this, so whenever these all go in, these will be under here. And those get bolted together as well. So you can paint the inserts whatever you want, you can paint the exterior whatever you want, or just leave it all. For his particular Jeep, he's got red accents on different things, so he went with the red colors. So we'll show you where some of this stuff mounts. Anything anyway. All right, for this little weird mount right here, there's two of these, obviously one for the passenger, one for the driver. It goes up here underneath this front mount. Right here, there's a nut right up there. Once again, this is 2018, so this particular one is a 5/8. So we're just going to loosen this thing up is all we're going to do. So if you notice the little angle right here, so whenever you slide this underneath the nut right there, you're going to push it all the way forward to where it rests up against the mount right there. So see how that just kind of pivots in there, and you'll rest it up against that. And then you're just going to tighten that nut back down until it's snug, and that's it.
So now we're just putting the red accents in the back of this.
Alright, so for this part right here, this section of the mount, this goes right here, just like this. So you're going to have your two bolts that come through right here, and then this part down here is going to be where your inner fender is going to. What the fuck are you shooting? Okay. So these, I'm right here on this. These two bolts up here. These two bolts right up here, you're going to bolt right into the sidewall. These are going to be for your inner fender that comes down. Now, the problem that you're going to have, depending on what you use for fenders, is this right up here for the fenders that we're using. These two bolts go through the fender, through the actual sidewall of the Jeep, and then into the mounting bracket. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's not just going to be an install of the inner fender or an install of the actual fender itself. This is going to be a little bit of a mixed piece right here. So that's what we're going to show next. Is we're going to put the fender up here, then we're going to put these in, we're going to put in all the clips for the fender to actually get screwed into the sidewall of the Jeep, and then we're going to show you how we route the line itself, the wire that comes back to here for the blinker itself. So we're going to show all that right now. Alright, so these are the KBD fenders that we're installing. Whenever you get them all mounted up here, then you can identify which holes you actually have to put the little white pieces in to mount the fender up here. As you see, this is the front fender, so we do have the coil of wire right here. We're going to snip this off, and then we're going to show you how we run that underneath. First thing we're going to do is we're going to insert all of the actual pieces and here so that we can mount the front fender. In the research that we've done and everything that we've looked at, everyone says that you have to remove, or you should remove the fenders first before you do the fender inserts. For this particular setup of what we're running with these two different styles, it's actually not a big deal to completely install the outer fender before you do the install of the inner fender. The only thing that you have is these two sections right here, where this piece is going to be mounted in here. That's going to be screwed right through your outer fender, through the sidewall, into this inner mount, just like I was saying earlier. These little inserts right here are what we're going to be putting in. So like what I was saying, stick this up here, identify which holes. The two holes right here that you have that are going to be for the bracket, you don't use these inserts. Use the rest of them back through here. So I'm just identifying which holes that I'm going to be putting these inserts in. These first two right here. So I'm just going to lay this back down. Just push this in a little bit. They're kind of stiff. The whole sidewall flexes, so I hold my fingers behind it. I just take the end of a hammer. I don't hit it or anything. I just push right here, and that seats it right in. So then we just take another one. Just get it started. Take the end of a hammer. Hold back on here with fingers. Push, it just pops in. Same thing down through here. Now, we're going to take the bracket that mounts underneath here with the fender. We're going to put that piece up, get it loosely installed. We're not going to tighten down these two screws. However, we will go through and tighten down all the rest of the screws that hold the fender on. We will do that. So now, we're going to take this piece here. If you look, got these two lined up right here. This goes behind it, like so. And for this particular one, you got a D on one side, and you actually have a P on the other one for driver and passenger. So just line that up. Get the longer ones. Not the easiest thing in the world. Get that up there. Once you get that started, like I said, just leave it loose. And I'm going to do the back side here. This one, same thing, just started. Don't want to tighten it all the way up. All right. That's good. Yeah. So now, this right in here is the connection for your blinkers. And it's just stuck up in there. You got to pull this piece right here down because the inner fender is going to come right up through here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run your actual light connection right here. We're going to run it right behind the front grill here. You just pull that out. It tucks in there quite nicely. If you see right here, the line just goes right up there behind it. And then inside here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to run it behind a couple of these different wires right here. Right up behind here. All the way up. Pull that down snug. Mount this in. Lock it in place. And then this will just go right up here. Take a zip tie. Alright, next, because we can just go ahead and mount it, it doesn't affect the install of the inner fender for this particular one. So we're going to go ahead and put the screws in, and we're going to mount the actual fender itself. So you're just going to go through, you're going to put all the screws in, and you're going to mount the fender. Because once again, that doesn't actually affect the inner fender install using these KBDs. But some other ones, it might affect it, but for this particular style, it doesn't. There we go. The fender itself installed. Now we're moving to the inner fender. So these two pieces go like this. Once again, everything we're doing loose fit first, and then you'll come back and you'll tighten everything up. So as these two pieces kind of go in here, you'll see how this back section here slides up into this, like this piece. So this stuff right here was not on the passenger side, so these two pieces are going to have to be moved out. So the driver's side is a little bit different here. So this will go right up in here. There's a bolt hole right down here. This is the main one that I'm looking to line up. Once I get this one right here lined up, that will kind of show how the entire thing is going to lay up in here, because the driver's side and the passenger side are way different. The passenger side was a freaking nightmare. Some of the stuff that's here, I mean, this entire area that's open right here was just cluttered with the electrical connections and stuff like that.
Battery box.
Right here, the battery box sets right here on the passenger side. So the passenger side is definitely more difficult to finagle just getting everything snugged up in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is this piece here, we're going to make sure that this bottom hole goes into this one.
And that's because these JLs have 2 batteries as well.
Correct. Yeah. The JL, the main battery, there's another battery underneath of it.
Absolutely.
And it makes it a pain in the ass right here in this section. But I'm going to move these 2 pieces. We're going to make sure this one bolts in, and then we're going to get everything lined up. So it looks like there's going to be a bolt here, so we're probably going to use a nut on the back of it right here as well. That's loose. We're going to get 2 bolts and 2 nuts to get this section right here installed.
Yeah, this side's totally different, huh?
Yeah, completely different than the other side. Alright, so we were just looking at it. We only have 1 nut left from everything we did earlier. However, we have this little body clip. So what it's looking like is this body clip is probably being used right here for this section.
Again, great product. No instructions on how to install this.
No instructions. That looks like that one will go there. We're going to use a long bolt in that section. We push these 2 just back out of the way. We'll zip tie this. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do that now. It'll be easier to get to it. I'm just going to zip tie this right back to here.
That's another video we should have made, was the Gorilla Whip lights.
Yes.
Another video you're not going to find.
Yeah. So anyone watching this one's made it this far, that's another one that you're definitely not going to find. It is a Gorilla Whip Lights video. I'll stick this right up in here. So the bottom one definitely lines up. That top one lines up with it perfectly. So that definitely looks like it. We use that body clip for it. I cannot stress this enough. Leave it loose. Do not make it tight. Whenever you start putting all of this stuff together, I mean, this entire thing is multiple pieces that form all the way through here. And if you leave it loose enough, then you'll be able to actually do it. So now we're going to use a nut and a bolt.
A lot of this stuff didn't line up perfectly, so you gotta...
Now, it's a good thing that it is all sheet metal and you can move this stuff. So this one here, you'll be able to come up from underneath here and get to the back side of this nut to tighten this one up. But once again, this is loose. This is all loose. So now we're going to start the install of everything up through here. So the next piece we're installing is this one. This comes right here in the front like this. It just kind of sets in there. And just so you all know, the first side that we did, it took us 7 hours to do the passenger side. 7 hours. Of just figuring everything that we're showing you in this video, and this total video that I'm going to end up editing and cutting and making for you guys is probably going to be 10, maybe 15 minutes long, and that's, I mean, we're talking removal, install, fenders, it's a little bit of everything.
Of one side.
Of just one side. It's only going to be probably about 10-15 minutes. The passenger side took us 7 hours to figure all this out because there's no instructions on how to do this.
And you don't realize how much of an angle you really set these things at.
Correct. This
It's pretty drastic.
The way that this comes in, if you're just putting it together, it doesn't look like this is how it should be until you actually put it in here and you start seeing all these angles and stuff. And then this thing comes in. Got to kind of kick this one back a little bit.
It's pretty drastic.
And then you got to make sure that these go in the back side of this one. So you got to kick it all the way back, angle this whole thing up, and we're going to start with this one. We're going to do this front clip first, then we're going to come up to here, and then we're going to come back to here. So, once again, I cannot keep reiterating this enough to everyone. Everything is installed just loosely. I mean, look at all this. Everything is installed loosely right now. We don't tighten anything up until it's all together.
Until the very end.
Yeah.
We learned our lesson on the other side.
Yes, we did.
And all we really did on the other side was tighten up our end pieces, and that still caused a lot of problem.
This section back here, tighten this up, and then this section right here was bolted firmly to this. So these two sections were together, and then we tightened up that one down there, and then this piece and this piece right here. I mean, it was not going together at all. It was a pain. All right, that is everything put together now. Now you can go back in and start tightening up.
Gotta grab the 8 and take off this back fender piece.
Okay. So this piece here, this has to come off to be able to install the inner fender. However, once we get this piece off, we're going to move on to this piece here, and we're going to show you first, with the outer fender coming up through here and the inner fender coming down, this piece right here was specifically designed for the factory fender, so it's really bulky and it sticks out here. So we removed this piece as well because it doesn't look right. once
Just say it's
everything's
ugly.
installed. Okay,
It's ugly.
It doesn't look right. All right, take that shit. Okay. Oh yeah, that one is nice. Push this behind. That up.
Kill them all. Send them to hell.
Okay, so those two are in there, and if you look right here, we have one more right down here that we have to find out where to drill this hole. This is where it all sets. This one sets way tighter than the actual passenger one did. That's actually very nice right now. So we're going to push this back a little bit. I'm just going to pry it out because I want to see where this one down here is. So it's right about just at the bottom of that one. Now, if you are more into the precise specifications of how to do things, don't watch what's about to happen because it's going to annoy you. But I'm going to guesstimate right about where that hole belongs, and then I'm going to drill a hole through the body of this Jeep. And it is right about there. That's where we're going to drill a hole at. What I am going to do is I'm going to remove the inner fender now because I don't want to drill into this and then scar up the fender. We did that on the other side.
And got a
boo-boo. He got a pretty good boo-boo.
That's why you don't leave the inner fender in there. Lesson learned.
This whole side seems so much easier. I don't know what the heck is going on.
7 hours of struggle and frustration later,
I don't know why.
we kind of got to figure it out now. All right, so now that we have it back out, these two sections right here, this one and this one, this actually bolts to. Once again, there is a difference from the driver's side to the passenger side. The passenger side didn't have this particular bracket. But on the passenger side, it had two sections that had nuts on the back of them that just screwed right into holes like this. It didn't have a bracket like this. It was different than the driver's side here. So now we're going to get this one put in there, and then we'll reinstall the fender again. Once again, that's the reason we're making this particular video, is there's nothing out there to say this stuff, that you're going to run into these issues or make sure this is done first or that's done first. You should make sure this is done first.
Well, right now it's kind of trial by error.
Put it back on. Reinstall the entire fender assembly. The whole thing together this time.
That hurts from last night.
You gotta leave that in there.
Damn chocolate starfish. We have one more piece that gets installed down here. So we're gonna put this piece on. Like what I was talking about, the way that this section right down here looks, I mean, it's getting dark, but you still get the picture. This piece right here has to come off. Just because the way that it looks with the fender whenever it comes here, it just doesn't look right. This little piece right here, this bottom section goes over top of this frame rail here, and then it's going to come into that little section down there.
So a notch.
Yeah, that little notch there. You're going to see what we're talking about here in a second. So the T sits right up in that little section. All right, now the inner fender is completely in, tight. Everything's good with the inner fender. Now we're going to put on the outer fender and we will be done.
Then grab that.
Very good. All right, he got all the plastic pieces in. Now we're going to put up the fender itself. That's not it. These are it. That right there is the complete install. Walk up and show the side lights how they're moving.